guys, welcome to the channel for new battle report. So this is the final of the Swiss Fondue League. Basically it changed a bit the purpose of the game for me because we played this game during a Swiss team bootcamp, and I took it more as a training game because in this tournament I was playing Ogre Khan, so I would have been supposed to play the final with Ogre Khan against the Vampire Covenant of my opponent, of Thomas, from our group player. And I would have definitely have a better match against the Vampire Covenant with my Ogre Khan. But I took it more, I wanted to have some trainings on the Switch, the new list I've been switching to recently. So I took it more as a training, moving forward, more than really maximizing my chances of winning this tournament. Because I felt it's less important for me than getting ready on the new list, getting some experience on matchups. And even if this doesn't give me the best chance of winning the tournament, basically. I was playing the same list as the previous battle report. My opponent is playing the following list. So we have General Lamia, who is on commandment, is going to have Destiny's Call and is quite killy. Then we have Master Evocation, we have two huge block of skeletons, Bunker of Zombie for the Master, 2 units of Baronite, together with the Captain. They are here, 2 of them, to go inside the unit and make them quite independent, so a very strong unit. Then we have Coat of the Dam, who is going to go inside the 40 skeletons, and 2 units of Winged Reapers. So I would say quite classical VC list. It's quite powerful at the moment. This auto-include Banner of Eldritch Might in core is really strong, together with Commandment Lamia, really strong. And then we have good magic, we have the court inside another block of skellies, which is not easy to deal with. And then we have the strong Baronite on the flanks, who have Dying Blow. And I would say then it's a question of taste if you want to finish the list with Halberd, Wind Reaper, or if you want to have something different. I saw the bench is quite popular as well. So I think there are different options that you can take if you keep the second unit of Baronite, or if you prefer take some Ghast. So there are multiple options here to finish the list, but I think the idea of the list is quite a classic for Vampire Covenant at the moment, and quite powerful, I must say. Unfortunately for me, we play all the center. So in this tournament we roll randomly for the primary, and it's a bad news. I mean, 86 skeleton on the center, plus multiple units around to countercharge. I mean, this is a mission impossible for me. Then we play Mutual Encroachment. Again, no luck here on the secondary for me. Enslave and Ransom is a bad one. I would have preferred something different. So here, not so good for me. It's going to be hard to engage really against this list. And he gets settled the score. He needed to kill, he elected to kill my rocket battery on the gunnery team. Basically, below spell selection, so he has 3 times the raise. He has also the creation of the unit that I didn't mention here. So obviously a very good magical setup here to try to cancel my range damage. Matchup analysis, it's a blocky Vampire Covenant. The primary is definitely to his advantage. I think here there is not much I can do to win it. He has too many bodies on the middle of the table here. Secondary, it's kind of hard to engage in this matchup, so doesn't make my life easier with Enslave and Ransom. And VC, I can protect my gunnery team and give me a chance here. Pass to victory for me, kill the Morghast with range damage, try to reduce heavily his big unit to try to maybe counter push or get points on the big unit. I know that I'm going to lose primary, most likely, but I think here playing second would be better. If you struggle on a primary objective like this one, playing second sometimes gives you opportunity. So we will see. Depends a lot if I can do enough damage. He cannot raise too quickly, and maybe I can get to something. I think for him, he could quickly, you will see, he can just sit on the center with his models, just raise and move a bit forward and not take much risk. Estimation, I felt the matchup is negative for me. I don't know how much VC can really push me and crush me. I think there are also a bit of risk to do that, because you need to break through my unit that are quite resilient. But he could definitely here play safe and play on the advantage of the primary, basically, which is what's going to do. Spoiler. So, I won the role. I took defender and took bottom. What doesn't help as well for me is those 2 impassable that are a good way for him to protect his flank. So as often when you are on a bad shape, when it's hard to play for the center, it could be good to use the flank. But here, as you can see, it's really hard to exploit the flank due to those two impassibles. So that's not a good news as well. He dropped everything in the middle. So we have Eldritch unit, we have the other unit with the coat in the back, zombies, more ghast. And then on the right he deployed another unit of knights. So basically each side you have knight, you have more ghast, and then the two block in the middle. So very symmetrical deployment. On my part, I debated a bit. What should I do? I definitely want to have the Nafta in the middle to give me any chance to threaten his block. So that was definitely the idea behind the Immortal Nafta in the middle. Then I place a rocket battery facing the Morghast on the right. My Vassal Levies with spear facing his cavalry. So that was basically the natural counter. And then in the middle here I put Disciples of Lugar, thinking they could bring me something in helping against basically bringing a good counter charge. That was the idea. Rocket battery in the middle, and on the far left the Vassal Levies with bows. I debated a bit, should I put something on the far left, but as you can see the problem is those two impassible are really creating kind of a zone where it's hard to really exploit the flank. Even if I would deploy like a unit of Lugar here trying to push, it could be hard to charge him due to the impassible. I think he could use that to his advantage despite the Lugar having Ghost Step. And I thought I might need them as well in the middle, and also I wanted to avoid the fight between his big block and my Vassal Levies, because Vassal Levies are good against units that have a less rank than them, and I know that the block in the middle could have a lot of ranks quickly. So I thought that might be an issue also for me if I put the Vassal too much in the middle. So that was the idea behind my deployment. We will see how that goes and then discuss at the end if it was the right choice or not, like I usually do at the end of the battle report. So his turn one, he pushed forward, obviously. I mean, the big problem here is obviously the primary objective. It's going to be very hard for me to compete for it. Playing second, I thought might give me a chance, but yeah, it's kind of hard. As you can see, prepare some counters, so even if I would charge with the Vassal Levies, I would do some killings, but then it would obviously countercharge me a lot of time, and that would be too much for me. I think I cannot punish heavily enough then his countercharge of Morghast and unit. He will have too much bodies, and I don't have the damage output in close combat to kill so many models that I can really punish the charge. So I cannot really go against the cavalry, and I think he identifies that here. Magic Face, yeah, he gets some raise. He get that I dispel one time, then he get a creation, and you also get one of the raise basically on his unit. Okay, then we move to my turn. So basically, yeah, I move the rocket battery in range. I already put the stat from both rocket battery shooting at the Morghast. I think he did a big mistake by letting me having a range without too much risk. So basically I have double rocket battery, and as you can see it's 21% chance of one-shotting them. And if I get the Morghast out turn 1, I mean that's already part of the road done, part of the journey done, because I need to reach, I think it's like 800, yeah, more than 800 points for the 13-7, which would be enough for the win. But in that case, yeah, that's one unit. I need to get the second one. I think that's the unit that I can get, that's the easiest way for me to get some point out of his list, and then try to threaten the skeletons basically. So we will see. Other than that, yeah, reposition my unit, not giving him any charge. The Vassal Levies pushing a bit on the left because I'm out of arc of his cavalry. Magic Face. I get Flaming Sword on one of the rocket battery. So I think the stat that I put below is with the Flaming Sword. I get a Pyro Flow, kill some skellies. And then rocket battery, I'm going to get a good number, but not the one shot I targeted. So I get the 26% chance, or actually it's 26 plus 4 plus 21, so it's 47% chance of doing 6 wounds or more, and I managed to do 6 wounds, so I was close to kill him. I also killed the skeleton with the shooting, so the zombies that he raised with the shooting. He's turn 2, he pushed a bit more towards me. He keeps the rest as counter charger basically, so the cavalry and Morghast, they move a bit back, and they just move forward with the infantry, raise them. Basically my turn 2, I shoot and he raise, and that's going to be a bit the game. And as you can see, move the Morghast out of the way. He's going to be able to raise it sooner than I do wounds with my rocket batteries. So yeah, it's like every turn I do wounds and he raise, and I do wounds and he raise. And that's going back and forth. And I don't see any way to really break that, because if any of my immortal units push too much, then I'm going to be threatened by too many units. Even the combo charge of both blocks I think are way too dangerous, because if I get stuck against so many models, it's way too dangerous for me. So yeah, it's kind of hard to really, for me, push forward to compete for the center. He quickly enough put 3 units within 9 of the center, and I'm not going to be able to do the same, even if I take some risk towards the middle. So yeah, I didn't find really options here towards the middle. I continue to shoot. I spare you the detail because I think it's not that relevant, but as you can see, I killed ton of skeletons. I mean, double Naftator every turn. He dispel obviously the cage, and I get some more damage with Pyro, and then he raised them back basically, and that's how it went. So that was basically most of the game. Then I think on my 5, I managed to kill those Morghasts. So this time I get lucky. I think I needed 6 wounds, because I see 2 more there. I think I needed 6 wounds, and I get that, and I killed those Morghasts, but he was able to raise the other one. And towards the end game, I attempt to push on the left with Vassal Levies, because I was able to get out of arc of the court, but then he will be able to move completely out. He turn around, move away, wants to avoid any charge, going to create a unit here. I'm going to shoot the Skellies close to death. He will jump the Vampire before that. I'm going to get half of the unit of Skellies. Those guys will be able to move out of the range, potential range of those guys. I think I could have done that better and push slightly up on my 5 here. I didn't want to be too close to those guys, but I think, yeah, I was always afraid, because even if I reduce them close to death, basically he can charge and then raise, and it's kind of hard for me to predict how that could go. But I think I could have potentially take the risk of pushing those guys a bit forward. I was also blocked by the Impassable here for the counter charge. That was another issue. So I think the deployment of those Vassal is not optimal at all, because I wanted to secure double counter charge and I wasn't really able to do so. So that was also one of the issues. But I think, yeah, on my 5, no matter what, I should have pushed those Immortals, jumped the BSB within to secure the bodyguard, and then make sure that on my 6 I can also get a range of those guys to try to get them. Which I didn't manage to. I did some wounds on my 6, but not enough to take any points from the Morghast, and basically that's how we end up. So I took the Wind Reaper, half of the Skellies, which is basically 2 points, and he just took the primary and nothing else. And my secondary was to take Enslave and Ransom. I think here something that could be considered is the fact that the creation of the unit he made turn 1, I wasn't able really to clean them, so I had no unit that could really charge them without risking a flee afterwards. So it was kind of complicated, because I had nothing really to clean that unit. But that was definitely a pass toward the Enslave and Ransom. Try to clean this unit, take 2 points, and maybe get another one at some point, and to make my secondary. So that was potentially a pass, but the way he created the unit in the middle of the map was too dangerous for me, because I would need to flee, and I wasn't sure afterwards. Yeah, the unit that needed to flee were, I think, containing either General or BSB. So I didn't really plan for that. I didn't have the Lugar in a position to do it as well. So it was kind of hard really to clean that unit without giving away a precious unit or taking risks. So yeah, that's why. Let's analyze quickly the game. So both armies sitting in the center. I think he took no risk. He just plays it like a final, and I played it more like I was going to play the matchup no matter what. I felt it was way too risky to push forward for me. I didn't saw any opening. I think if I push forward, I get multi-charged by the big block. We get stuck in combat, and then he's able to bring deadly counter-charge. And in that kind of game, I'm not going to win. I'm going to take a heavy loss. So I tried to play it on points, but yeah, it was always going to be very hard. I think there is a risk on his turn 1. The fact that he leaves me the option to one-shot a unit of Wind Reaper could have started the game a bit different for me, because then I get some points, and it's a unit less. So this also open up some options, I think, on the right flank. So that was a first key moment. And then I took way too long to take a unit of Wind Reaper out. I think, yeah, his block had really the control of the center, and I had nothing to challenge that, let's be honest, other than my range damage. The only way I could engage them is if they are not too much, and that's not something I can do easily because he has 3 rays. So yeah, I think it was a suicide mission if I would have pushed toward the center. Maybe on the deployment I could have put the double vassal levies on the left. I think we saw that the 40 vassal levies near the impassable on the right were kind of stuck, didn't manage to achieve anything, and I think if I put both units on the far left, maybe I have a path towards pushing forward. Because like I said, the vassal levies need to avoid the combat towards against his big block, and I think on the left flank we saw some paths for that, so that could have been an option for me, having more like a right flank to hold and a left flank to try to push with the vassal levies. And yeah, I think I can show that here. So I think I should have just switched the 2 block of vassal, and then I can start to push. And here basically we have the 2 block of vassal levies covering themselves. That unit of the court is kind of hard to look all that way without giving me a flank option at some point. So I think that would have been a good way a better way I think to approach the game. And basically here on the right flank, that's what I did all game long, is basically block him with Immortal and set up a counter charge here. Maybe at some point try to push this unit a bit forward, but that was kind of hard with the unit of skeletons. I always try to give him 5 or 6 charges, but not something shorter, because if he gets the cavalry plus them, I think he can break the Immortal unit, especially if the vampire gets a contact against my character. And then I think that's the type of combat that I don't like, because even if his counter charge is going to be still here and then counter charge me again and win that kind of fight. So I think he has enough bodies in those units here to take advantage from any type of engagement. But the way the game was played it was for him also hard to engage. I mean, the type of charge that he had were too long, and if he tried to advance in the middle, then he's getting at risk of getting flank charge or stuff like that. So he cannot also push too much. So it was kind of a block game, which is kind of frustrating and wasn't really enjoyable for the final game of this kind of tournament. But like I said, for me it was more of a training and how I can play the matchup. And here I didn't see any opening to do anything that makes sense basically in this game. But if you see it otherwise, please feel free to share. Thanks to my opponent for the game. It was a quick game in that case. Because it was kind of block and he didn't want to take any risk. I think there are some options for the vampire to try to push. Because of the size of the unit, I think it's also possible at some point to try to push and play on the counter charge. He didn't want to, but it could have been interesting. I think the game would have been much more interesting if we played something a bit different. Maybe breakthrough, all other type of primary, basically spoil and stuff. All other type of primary I think would have been more interesting than the center here, which is basically an incentive for him to just sit in the middle and do nothing. And I would have liked a more active game to show, and also to try out the matchup. I think would have been much more interesting when if the vampire has an incentive to try to get me in the close combat. I think would have been much more interesting, but that's how it was. Guys, thanks a lot for watching the battle report, and talk to you soon for another one. Goodbye.